Hello and welcome everybody to week number 12 for July 17th, 2024. And all I can say about yesterday, it was a record smashing day. Everything fell. I mean, all-time records being set everywhere. I, just I can't get over some of these numbers that I'm seeing here. Well, first, Jared Coyle from the greens birdies the first 5 holes and shoots the low gross of the year of 30. Tremendous round. Tremendous round for Jared. And, I'm talking about Jared later in the report card. So, we got to temper that a little bit, but seems to have waken out of his slump here. Unfortunately, and nobody's going to do this in the A's. It was just not going to happen. You're not going to win a skin with a birdie yesterday because there were 104 birdies. 104 birdies yesterday. There's no way you could win one. A men's league record, 84 players had 20 or more points. That's an all-time record. There's no question. Nobody's ever come close to it. I've been doing this for a long time. Nobody's ever come close to that. No 1 week. A record, an all men's league all-time record, 26 teams had 40 or more points. Never been done before. A men's league all-time record, 12 teams had perfect scores. That's never been done before. I mean, the most I ever had was 3. And that's why we could only award 3 prizes. We're only budgeted that much for that award. So I had to break ties to give the top 3 teams their top team award. A men's league all-time record, 5 fantasy teams had 66 or better points. Again, real thing to break the tiebreaker. You had to go to the next person and then to the owner and so on and so forth. 3 players, Claude Tessier, Dave McBride, and Stuart McMahon tied the low net for the year. And ironically, there was only 1 eagle yesterday. Very profitable one for Steven Zegel. 1 eagle earned him $180. So it's great. And only 5 players had subpar rounds. Now you got to understand, for these A players, 35 is not the par. From the whites, 34 is probably the par. Maybe for some 33, but 34. From the greens, 33 is a par. Let's face it, maybe even 32, because on number 5, they can almost drive the green. They're getting a huge distance advantage on 4, huge distance advantage on 9. They can't take advantage as much. I don't know how they played number 7, but there's trees blocking the way. So I doubt if they could take a driver over those trees. It was just too close. So you're talking like 3 shots there, and like number 5 is a par 4 for them. So, and there should have been some more eagles. So 33 is kind of their par. So I was surprised there's only 5 players under par. Yesterday we published the first gunner and putting competitions. So we have some leaders there. Of course, it's not the you'll get more information as more players have their 10th round completed. And just a reminder that next week is Wildcard Wednesday. And actually, I'll come back to that because I have a few more things to talk about. Yeah, I'll come back to that. So, team prizes. Yesterday, I had to break, what was it? There was 12 teams that were perfect. So what I did was I can only award it to 3. I went to your third player. Or your third player. 2 teams had a third player score 22 points. So they're in. Team Fitzgerald, I think it was one of them, and the other name escapes me. And then I went to the next 2 teams had players. Next player was 20 points. And so I had to go to another tiebreaker and the 4th player on the team, and only 1 team had a player with 20 points, and that was John LaChance's team. So that's how I broke the ties there. So that's the detail I had to go into. The fantasy prize was even more strange because I had to go right down to the owners, the third players and the fourth players, and because I count three of the top four, fourth players tied in the top two for Jared Cole and Dale Riddell, and it came down to Jared, I think, having 22 points and Dale having 20. It was very, very close, but Jared won that. The other strange thing about yesterday's a Ringer report. Now, the Ringer report is different. It's not the one that you're used to seeing because this is played from the green tees, and the software won't let me count this for the white tees. Your slope rating and your course rating is from the green tees. I was managed to change the course so that the handicaps wouldn't be too wild. So if you shot a lower score, it expected you to shoot a lower score, so your handicaps won't change as much as you would have expected. So that's the only fair way to do this. So it only took ringers from the green. So that's why you see a different Ringer report this week. Earlier this week, I recorded video of the players that, in my opinion, were underperforming. Now, clearly, yesterday, everybody performed well. And one player in particular performed really well. So, and he's in the video. So, but he still can improve. You gotta kick him a little bit here. So let's watch the video now. Hello, everybody. I'm here to give our midterm report cards for those players who are not quite there yet. I mean, there's more in them, and they're not playing to their potential. You've seen that on a report card before. That means I expect more. Now, these are midterm reports, okay? Little unfair maybe to pick on some of these players, but they just aren't playing up to their normal potential. And I'm hoping by kind of pointing them out that in the second half of the year that they're going to kick it in gear and start playing really well. So there are not going to be any letter grades because they're all Ds. They're all below average, okay? And maybe a little unfair in some cases, but, you'll hear my reasons why. First player on my list, player, I believe, intermediate, not intermediate, sorry, mid-amateur, is Ryan Valley. Ryan, last year, at this time, was scoring 18.1 points per game. 18.1. That's terrific. At this point, this year, 16.9. Huge drop in production, Ryan. You've got to pick it up. So you've got a lot of time left. There's still 11 weeks left, wildcard weeks and so on. So I'm expecting more from you. Hopefully the green tees will revitalize your game. Number 5 on my list is an intermediate. I feel bad, but this was a finalist in men's league last year. This is our men's league club champion. Elliot Riddell has not played up to his standard this year. Elliot is scoring 16.9 points a game. But where the big difference is, in 2023, at this point last year, he had 17 birdies. 17. You know how many he's got this year? 7. 7 birdies. That's it. 7. 1 eagle, 7 birdies. He's got to pick it up. He's not going to do it. He's also on my fantasy team. I thought he was going to be there. He was a men's league finalist last year, lost in a playoff. I expect more from him. So, another intermediate. Now, I haven't got the gunner stats yet, so maybe it was a little early, but I do have the birdie stats. And this next player last year was leading the birdie race with 22 birdies at this point last year. 22! He was on pace to challenge Robert Mustard's record of 48 birdies for the year. At this point this year, he's got 13. and that's Jared Coyle. Jared is only averaging 16.7 points a game. He hasn't got an eagle. Jared is representing us in the mid-amateur, the Canadian mid-amateur. He's still in the hunt for a spot for the U.S. Open U.S. amateur qualifier. He's led our intersectional team. He's playing terrific golf, except in men's league. I need him to play better. Now, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're playing crazy, trying to get birdies and not doing it, but that's not even happening. 13 birdies for him. That's a real downgrade from especially last year, and Jared, you got time, start to get your game in gear and pick it up. Okay, number 3 on my list. This was tough. Maybe a little unfair, but because he's not playing any much different than last year. Last year at this time, he had 17.2 points per game. This year he's got 16.3, and that's Greg Chambers. But Greg, look, you had 15 birdies last year at this point last year. 50! You got 6 this year. 6! Greg, I've played with you. You are good. You can get birdies. You've got to pick it up, man. You're just not there. I had you at number 2 at one point, but your point totals are close enough to make you a number 3, but you can play better, and I expect a better second half of the season. Number 2 on my list is a Masters player. The only one on the list, the only Masters player on the list. And the guy, maybe I'm being a little unfair, but his production has dropped drastically. Here's the thing with men's league. If you're shooting, let's say 50 and got a 16 handicap and you're getting 19 points a game, that's great. But all of a sudden your handicap goes down, your game has got to get better. Danny Corville, for the past 6-7 years, has always been a top player because he's responded. He's had maybe a high handicap, but then as he got better, he played better. This year he was playing really, really well. He had a minor surgical procedure, came back and he played terrific, and then his production has now dropped drastically. Last year at this point he was scoring 18.1 points a game. This year 16.3 points a game. Danny, it's just not good enough. You've got to pick it up. Your handicap's getting better. You got to play better. So I expect a better half of the season for you too. And now my number 1, the last player on the list, our men's league champion of 2023, Glenn Coyle, is scoring 16.3 points a game. 16.3 for our men's league champion of last year. One of the steadiest golfers we have in the club. 16.3. Glenn, you're our champion. You've got to play better. I hate to pick on the Coyle family, but hey, you're just not there right now. So you're the captain of your team. Pick it up. You got the rest of the season to go. I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys play better the rest of the season. And I wish you all well. And no ill will. I'm just pointing this out so that you can pick up your game. I've noticed it. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll see you later. So as you can see, I picked Jared Coyle as one of my players that are underperforming. I mean, the number of birdies was way down, and that's all I had to go on. He didn't have enough rounds in for the gunner at that point. So, yeah, I played ball yesterday. Hopefully that'll continue. For those people who haven't, Elliot Riddell's another one that played well yesterday. So hopefully those players will pick it up for the second half of the year. When you get chosen for something like that, it's not a diss on you. It's actually a compliment. It's me saying, I expect more from you because I know you're a better player. And I know you can play better on men's league. So it's actually a compliment. Don't take it the wrong way, guys. I respect it. Your games are fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to come back to this. It's next week is Wildcard Wednesday. Hopefully you can play. Wildcard Wednesday means that your scores will count for July 17th. and they're going to count for July 10th. Now, if you played on July 10th, I'm going to take the best of the two scores. So if you got a score that, maybe got 20 points on July 10th and maybe 18 on July 17th, you're going to get your 20 points. If you played better on July 17th, I'll replace your score. So you got the best of both worlds. It's also the last week for the NGL, the National Golf League qualifier. I will give you an estimate of where I think you stand after next week. At that point, at some point in the fall, I will get an email from them saying, hey, these players have qualified, let me know if they can go. And so we'll pass that information to you. On August the 7th, we're playing ghost pins. Ghost pins being they're not going to be any pins on the green. So you probably shoot one of your better scores, because we should be aiming for the center of the green anyway, and that's what's going to happen. And even the Satellite League is going to play ghost pins that day. So that was fun. Yeah, I think that's about it for today. Team prizes. Oh yeah, team prizes. Yeah. Well, we had one winner, Steven Ziegel, got $180, and Braden Woodcock got the only net skin, which I don't know how you win a net skin with all those scores, all those birdies flying all over the place, but he did. It's amazing. Yeah, and then all the prizes are up to date, and I've got everything mapped out. So listen, really have no rant this week. All I can say is I'm just absolutely blown away by the numbers that I saw yesterday. Oh, I do have something to show you. I'm sorry, my mistake. I wanted to show you the scoring averages between yesterday and 2 weeks ago. So let's go to that graphic here. I think this is it. Yeah. So this is the green week 12. And you can see this is the white week 10. Right, white week 10 is here, green week 12 is here. So you can see the difference in the scores. The green on this one, let me make this a little bit bigger, because sometimes it doesn't go big enough. Why is it? No, it's not letting me do that. Okay, so this is on the first hole, I actually played worse. It's 5.1 to 5.0. On the second hole, where it's about the same, and that's to be expected. There wasn't a lot of difference between the tee blocks. A little bit more difference on the tee blocks at number 3. You get a little closer to the green, you can go for it. So 4.8 to 5.2. The bigger hitters are clearly going to go over the green, probably with 3 woods at that point. Maybe even less. I don't know. Some of the guys hit them pretty far. Number 4, I did expect, especially the longer players, to score well, and they brought the average down quite a bit. A lot of players were able to get pars there where they couldn't get it before, so there's a big difference between 4.7 to 5.3. Number 5, again, I was very surprised there was only one eagle on 5. I was just blown away by that. But the scoring average is down by 0.4 of a score, and 0.4 is a lot. 0.4 is a lot. We're talking 180 players. 0.4 is quite a bit. Number 6, it wasn't much difference, because there wasn't much difference in the tee blocks. Number 7. Now, here's an interesting hole there, because it would make a big difference for the shorter hitters. You can get yourself in position, and you can see that there's a 0.3 difference. The longer hitters, I don't know if they could hit the green from there. The trees are right there, so I can't see them hitting a driver. Somebody mentioned they could probably hook it around to get it on in one, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see how they played that. But there is a 0.3 difference. Number 8, slight difference, and a slight and still a 0.2. And number 9, a big difference, and there's a 0.4 difference jump in score. So the green tees do make a difference in terms of scoring. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I look forward to August 14th when we play them again. And until then, guys, I hope you all play well.